Hey guys, Jason Samkovic here, Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast, out scouting some deer spots, and I came to this. I've been through here before. I know this area very well, and I wanted to point this out here for you too, because hunting season's either here. I don't know when this is going to publish. It's kind of one of those buffer videos that I put in there, spare parts kind of video, but it's going to be a short one. But anyway, you got to watch out for these bogs. Okay, this is important. Let's look at this for a second here. Okay, here we have a hole in a trail right here. Now we are end of July. Okay, so it's very dry here, and this is no big deal. Now come October, this thing will be up. It'll come from halfway up that hill. You can almost see the water line on it right over there. If you look, you can almost see where that water line is on that dark right there. It'll come there. It'll flow over the grasses a little bit, and it will come all the way up to here, right up into here. So this hole will actually be over 4 feet deep. Okay, it will look normal to you because you don't realize that this is a big old depression and that's massive mud down there. Believe me, we've seen so many people stuck in this. But, you know, as you're looking at this and you're driving down the road, you're going to look at it from here. Right here, it's going to be water all the way out, and you think it's no big deal, it's just water. Okay, well, it's not. There's a reason that this go-around is here. Okay, this is put here because of the fact that this here will take you right out of the game. So what happens when you're driving through these? All right, so you take your four-wheel drive vehicle here, and it looks like fun, and right now I could make it through that all day long, but that is pure muck on the bottom. Like I said, we've been stuck in this before years ago. We've pulled people out of here that were stuck. We know what this hole is, and but this thing here is just pure soft mud on the bottom. It's about a foot deep below this. So what can happen to you? What's going to happen to your vehicle when you're driving through this kind of stuff? Well, in here, if you don't have the right vehicle with the right kind of water fording capabilities and things like that, or a snorkel on it, you go driving something in here, even this here, which, you know, I mean, even a Wrangler does. I think the highest you get is a Wrangler that without a snorkel that has water fording capability at 30 inches. Okay, well, if this is a 4 foot or 4.5 foot deep hole when you sink in that mud, there's a very good possibility you're going to suck water into your engine and you're going to hydrolock. Hydrolock means water's in the engine. Water does not compress like a fuel and gas mixture and air mixture does, and it will literally seize your motor up solid. It will get in there and you will fight with it, and it'll go clunk, 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 and it'll just stop, and you're done, and your motor trashed. It's garbage. Thousands and thousands of dollars. So you got to be careful of hydrolock. That's one thing, okay? Hydrolock is one big deal, all right? But that's the worst case scenario, all right? There's a guy down in South Carolina that lived down there, one of the places the WMA we hog hunt on. He lives back in those areas that flood regularly. He said his neighbor back there bought a brand new Ram 2019 Ram 2500, just like what I have, and we were talking about it, and he hydrolocked that diesel motor on there and seized the whole thing up and done. It was over, game over, motor destroyed, wrecked, and done because of the flooding back there. So water is a very serious thing. Okay, you get into water above 24, 2 feet 3 inch or 2 feet to, depending on your vehicle, I would say as a good rule of thumb, if the water's 2 feet deep, you better be going slow and taking it easy. And but anything above 2 feet, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, you could get yourself into trouble. Let's put that into perspective. These are 32-inch wheels on here. Okay, so 32-inch wheels. So if you cut that in half, there's 16. That Jeep logo is 16 inches. So you figure halfway up that, or 3/4 of the way up that rim, is about as deep as you want to go. And look at that's above door line and everything. But you start getting too much higher and crazier than that, you got to start running into issues, especially when you're moving quicker. You're going to push a wave of water. It's going to come through vents, through the grill, and get right in there to the airbox and could cause you all kinds of problems and shut you right down. Now, that's only one issue, which is a hydrolock issue, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, when you go through something like this, okay, you're doing this, I don't care how often you do it. If you're going through holes like this, what you're going to get is you're going to have a problem with the mud. Okay, the mud is the worst thing that you can have for your vehicle, period. There's nothing worse. Okay, people are like, oh, rock crawling, it kills and destroys your vehicles. Rock crawling might be hard on them, but nothing is going to cause you more gremlins and bugs and problems with a vehicle than mud. Mud is the worst thing ever. It's going to wreck your brakes. It's going to shorten your brake life tremendously. It is going to get into all of your electrical connections. All of your copper connections in there are going to turn green, and they're going to get all corroded, and they're not going to work anymore, and you're going to be chasing electrical problems like crazy. If you don't dielectric grease them, your diffs are going to fill up with water from your breather tubes that you probably didn't relocate on there. You're going to have all sorts of problems. Your radiators are going to clog up. Your alternators are going to jam full. They're going to grind out, and they're going to stop working quicker. Everything is going to start to go bad on you when you start playing in the mud and water with a vehicle. It's okay if you're prepared for that and you like to do it and you set your vehicle up ahead of time and you do take the proper precautions, but just know that nothing's harder on a vehicle. It's going to jam up into your CV joints, into your skid plates. It's going to lock to your wheels when you pull out of there. It's going to make you feel unbalanced, and it's always got to be clean, okay? Mud is a pain in the butt. So when you see these, when you're out hunting, and you're not actually off-roading and four-wheel driving with a bunch of people like you're supposed to be, and you want to come out in the summertime and enjoy mud holes like this where you can run through it and you can give it a shot, and if you get stuck, somebody can pull you out, and then you can turn around, and when you get home, you can take the wheels off, clean everything out well, clean all the electrical connections that are behind all the wheel wells, re-dielectric grease everything, drain your diff out, do all the stuff that you have to do when you're off-roading in the mud. If you're not going to do that stuff and you're just out here hunting and you're trying to get to a hunting spot, take the bypass. Forget this. Yes, it's cool. Forget it. Take the bypass or go a different way around. This hole, something like this, will just cause you nightmares. And even if you get through it right now, fine and perfect, and you're all excited. We watch YouTube videos. People jamming through this stuff. Woohoo! Oh, that was fantastic. They don't show you what happens to that vehicle 6 months later when all that corrosion starts to set in on the electrical connections and on the stuff like that too. So when you can, bypass the mud, bypass it. Water's fine. Okay, water itself is usually not a big deal. It's the mud and water together, because the mud holds the water, cakes it in, and keeps it there. And then the mud stays there. And then every time you drive through the rain and everything down the road, that water sticks and fills that mud full of wetness and moisture. And that moisture then gets transferred into everything else. Mud is the biggest enemy of any vehicle there is. I straight up promise you. Nothing is harder on your car than mud is. So take the bypass, and if you have to go through something like this, this is important. Okay, this is how most people get stuck, especially down in the South. We see it a lot down there. I'm a part of a lot of forums down there. There's guys out hunting, and there's next thing you know, they're high centered, they're stuck, and they're buried in. When you come to something like this that you have to cross, and you don't have a bypass to get around it, you have no choice but to go through it, and you see other tracks of cars that went through there too and that kind of stuff, you need to stop and analyze that. So what you want to do is break yourself off a stick, and you want to walk that and check it. Okay, in my truck or in my cars, either one, but all hunting season long, there's a pair of hip boots that stays in there. When I'm down in the South especially, there's hip boots in my vehicles at all given times. They're just cheap ones, but they stay in there. Why? So that I can walk holes that I don't know about. So I can literally get in there and I can walk it, and I can see how deep it is, and I can find where the ruts are and where the high ridge is, and I can mark that, and I can tell myself, okay, I got to be 8 inches or 2 feet off this edge to stay on that ridge, and I can take it nice and slow and creep my way out of there and make sure I'm going good. But if you can't walk it, you don't know what's in there. This one looks like a simple little hole, which right now it still is, but I'm telling you, that's still 2.5 feet deep right there, I promise you, right in the middle. There's a 5-foot section of that is just completely wallowed out, that's 2.5 feet deep, and it is filled with just pure mud and muck, and you'll go in and you're going to go boom and drop right into it, and then you're done. And like I said, we see this hole claim a lot of people. So just be careful. If you got the option for a bypass, take the bypass. It's a much better option for you. And stay out of the mud when you can. And if you are going to go through the mud, clean your vehicle out completely, or you will regret it later on. And I mean, again, any electrical connections that are in that water line or anything like that, take the plug out, fill them with a dielectric grease, or first spray them with a moisture remover, okay, water separator, whatever they call it, moisture remover spray to get all that out of there, and then hit it with dielectric grease. Protect them. Otherwise, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, electrical gremlins like crazy. Take my advice. I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen every one of them come up, and they're not fun. And it's not cool. So, and this goes for your quads as well too, and your side-by-sides and all your stuff. You know, you see people out there having a ball and jumping through mud and doing all kinds of things. Great. if you don't clean it and take care of it, that mud will cause major problems for you down the road. So thanks for watching.